computer. All right, thank you. Good morning, and thanks everyone for joining us. I'm Rick Usher, and with me today is Na'im Al-Amin with SWAGG Inc. And we'll be talking this morning about digital equity for emerging entrepreneurs and small business owners. Quick bit of my background. I retired from the city of Kansas City, Missouri as assistant city manager for small business and entrepreneurship after 36 years with the city. I'm now in private practice by a company I call the Usher Garage LLC, kind of an homage to my great-grandfather who founded the Usher Garage, an actual auto repair garage in Plainville, Connecticut. And my grandfather, my dad pumped gas there when he was 5 years old. Also to support the idea and really the truth that a lot of entrepreneurs start their biggest things in their garage. So, and then with us is mentioned, Amin, if you could, Na'im, if you would introduce yourself, give us a bit of your background.
Absolutely, and thank you, Rich. Rick, definitely excited to be here today for digital equity for emerging entrepreneurs and small business owners. My name is Na'im Al-Amin. I'm both a social entrepreneur and small business owner. I am the founder and CEO of SWAGG Inc., our Serve, Witness, and Give Guidance. Inspiration never ceases. We believe that once you get out of prison, you should stay out. And we promote ownership for those impacted by mass incarceration by developing returning citizens, or those exiting prison to become owners through education, employment etiquette, and entrepreneurial development. And so I'm a formerly incarcerated individual, returning citizen, and Rick and I had an opportunity to meet 3 years ago at Global Entrepreneur Week, when I was definitely in the beginning phase of my entrepreneurial journey. So definitely excited to be here today to share more about our programming, our business model, and how we've been impacted by the digital divide.
Yeah, thank you, Na'im. And so we don't have a large group here, so I think it might be useful if folks would, if you'd like to, just introduce yourself, tell us just maybe a 30-second pitch of what you're up to, and I'll just go down my list here. Babir Sultan.
Yep, I'm here.
Hi.
I just joined in, so I'm not sure if there's a question. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. The question was just a short intro and what you're up to and like how you're enjoying GEW.
Yeah, Babir Sultan with the Fave Trip. We have a chain of convenience stores and gas stations. And I guess it's day 2. I was able to join one of the KC freelancers trying to hire editors and video content people for our YouTube and Facebook channel. And just tuning in to learn more, further learn more. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Deanna Munoz.
Hi, my name is Deanna, and I am the CEO and founder of Latino Arts Foundation, which is a not-for-profit. But also, I have the Midwest Chicana brand, which I have my own little small business, but also help other entrepreneurs in our community. And so we're kind of, that's why I'm here, is that part of it, is just trying to grow that and see how that goes. Thank you for having me.
Deanna, nice. Thanks for joining us. Ivan Fenwick. Oh, you're muted if you're trying to.
Zero. Can you come back to me last, please? I appreciate
Yes, sir.
it.
Yes, sir. Deborah Davis.
Hello, I am Deborah Davis, and I am with the Economic Development Corporation, Business Development Loan Officer. So I'm attending to get some helpful hints for my clients.
All right, thank you. Jonna Riley.
Hi, I'm Jonna. I am a new team member at the Porterhouse KC, and we serve entrepreneurs in Kansas City. So I'm here just to learn so that I can share the resources and information with our folks.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. I'm a big fan of Dan and Sharon. So, say hi to those guys for me.
Will do.
Jeff Wilden. Okay, maybe Megan Savart Culbertson.
Hi there. I am Megan, and I'm kind of I am a serial entrepreneur. Started my entrepreneurship journey when I was 21, owning a franchise of tanning salons here in Kansas City. Sold those a couple years ago, and now I have a new business, mindfulness studio. But where my real passion is coaching other women about coaching.
Okay. Yeah, your audio was breaking up there a bit, but thank you. Janice Ingram? Oh, you're muted if you're okay. Nicole Urban.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Hello.
Hi. Hi, I am an individual with a couple of businesses, e-commerce business and a a business where I am helping small businesses navigate business ownership. So I help them take their idea from idea to concept on paper, and then help put a plan in place for idea to realization. So I'm here to learn as much as I can from GEW. This is my third time attending. So
All right.
very happy to be here.
Thank you, Nicole. Rebecca Burkhart.
Hey there, my name is Rebecca Burkhart. I work from home, so I'm not going to share my screen because I look pretty rough. I am a full-time software designer, but I'm also finishing up my online MBA for marketing this December. I've dabbled in a few different business concepts and ideas. I had an online or e-commerce business and subscription company, which is very profitable, by the way, if someone's interested in doing a subscription-based company. Really, I'm here for this week just to find some areas where I can implement some of the marketing that I've learned along the way. And if there's any room for improvement on my end, that's why I'm joining the sessions. So.
All right, thank you. Let me see what I've done here.
I'm ready now, Rick.
Oh, okay, thank you, Ivan.
Good to see you again. Thanks so much for this opportunity to participate in your workshop. Right quick, my background. I transitioned out of corporate America. I have over 30 years working in corporate. My last stint was with Sprint, which is now T-Mobile. So I decided to try my entrepreneur wings. So I work with entrepreneurs who are trying to do the same thing, to make their transition, to start businesses, to hire people. I focus mainly from an industry standpoint of view on financial services and helping people to build economic wealth. So I'm here today because of digital, the title digital equity. As we know now, because of COVID-19, a lot of businesses now have to leverage technology in order to continue to serve their communities. So I'm here just to listen and see what I can learn from you experts that will be sharing with us today. And
right,
thank you again.
Thank you for joining us. Jim Starosevich.
Yeah, hey, Rick. So, sorry, I joined a little bit late too, so I missed this, but I'm guessing I look really dark for some reason today, but
it's all right.
I am actually been in the startup world for about 20 years. So I think I've been at GEW since they've started. I've had multiple businesses and exits in fintech, data analytics, and retail. For the past year, I've actually been working with a nonprofit, Casey Digital Drive. We do a lot in both digital equity and entrepreneurship. So it seemed like a natural session to join.
All right, thanks for joining us. And so we've had about we have 18 attendees now. Thanks everyone for joining. Let's see, Eric Stroutman.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I just joined a little bit late.
Okay, we're just doing just a short intro.
Okay. So I'm joining because I am launching a fintech business in the banking audit space, and just wanted to learn more about, digital equity.
All right.
So here I am.
Okay, thank you. And Stacy Webb.
Hi, I am just here to learn. It's a wonderful offering that we have here in the city. And congratulations to all of those people who've already started something.
Right, thank you. I think that, did I miss anyone? Anyone join us here? Okay, so yeah, so let's get started then. So then digital equity, in my work at the city, I helped negotiate the agreements with Google Fiber when they launched in Kansas City. That really lit up two areas. One was entrepreneurship, and if you're familiar with the startup village phenomena, that really was like startups just figuring out, where can I get this gigabit service and what can I do with it to grow my company. The other issue that came up was the digital divide. And Google Fiber didn't create the digital divide, but they made it front page news through their marketing campaign. And through that marketing campaign, you had to express interest in wanting to subscribe. That meant using a credit card to put a $10 deposit just to say I'm interested. That would go toward your account once they decided to do it. And then the other was you had to have internet access to do that. And so what we immediately found was residents in neighborhoods where that were low income really couldn't afford internet services, and they're also in the unbanked communities. So it was very difficult to change the buy-in at Google Fiber with that paradigm. So someone here mentioned KC Digital Drive. Aaron Deacon at KC Digital Drive launched a program called Paint the Town Green, fundraising, prepaid debit cards, joined an effort that was already underway with Google staff out in the fields, with school teachers and others going door to door and signing folks up. And so by the end of that campaign, we got to a point where now today, that Google Fiber deployment is available to, through some census data information we looked at anyway, available to, let's say, 94% of our residents. You still, though, have the affordability gap in that. And then specific to this conversation, there is a digital divide among small business owners in, say, some traditional storefront retailers or businesses that are doing well, say as a mom and pop, maybe you're a solo entrepreneur, but haven't really taken advantage of internet services or technologies. And that's the terminology that is used there is this digital transformation. It's mainly used like corporate world of how they can bring more and more of their services to the internet to hit the customer very specifically with their services. That same thing applies to small business owners. And like we've seen in the pandemic, businesses quickly pivoting to e-commerce platforms, increasing their use of social media. I think, again, back to Digital Drive, they help create a platform for restaurants and others for online ordering. And then you've got the emerging entrepreneurs. So we're working with residents that you wake up one morning, I've got this great idea. How do I turn that into a business? Working with KC SourceLink, you can get the services you need, but as you find, a lot of them, especially in the pandemic, have taken internet services and able to access them and use them. So I have Na'im Al-Amin with me this morning, and like Na'im said, we met 3 years ago at an in-person Global Entrepreneurship Week event, and we've kept in close contact over that time. His company has grown just really, I think, leaps and bounds, and with the sponsorships that he's had and with the outreach he's been able to do. And I think in a very specific part of the population that I think is very impacted by the digital divide and the lack of access to technology and devices and training. And so it's really doing a great job of filling that gap. I had planned on Simone Curls, who leads the Prospect Business Association, in joining us today. She So everybody here is probably familiar with the fact that you need to talk to a funder when they're available. She has a funder available now, so hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed for her on increased funding for programs she has. But the Prospect Business Association, if you're from Kansas City, I'm sure you know where Prospect Avenue is. If you're not, Prospect Avenue is a major commercial corridor through the city's east side that encompass the majority of our, say, economically distressed neighborhoods. And also when you overlay the maps of internet adoption, it really some of the least connected households in Kansas City. And again, maybe due to that affordability gap. Again, it's not really infrastructure. AT&T, Spectrum, Google Fiber provide services across the region, but there's that, of course, cost in subscribing. So the Prospect Business Association, what Simone has done there is they have a small business growth program that helps businesses, not only learn how to, scale and grow their company, but how to use that, how to do that through what we've been calling digital transformation. So it's from very, very basic stuff like helping someone create their Gmail account, all the way to training on QuickBooks and how to really transform your business by being able to invoice people electronically. And so, Na'im, if you could give us a bit of your knowledge of like experience you've had or some of maybe your clients have had in this digital divide area.
Absolutely, and thank you, Rick. So for SWAGG Inc., what we do again is offer a pre-entry business model to solve for the re-entry pandemic. And so we work with our clients that are currently incarcerated, and then we work with them 1 to 3 years in the community to ensure that they discharge from probation and parole. And we offer education, employment etiquette, and entrepreneurship to help us accomplish our goal. And so in terms of the education piece, we have partnered with the DeBruce Foundation. They've created a custom link for our clients. We can assess their skills and then look at the next step in upskilling them, juxtaposition to the labor market, looking at it over a 10-year forecast, looking at the demands of the employer and where our clients see their skill sets. And so we need that technology to be able to get that upskilling done. And one of the barriers to that is not only being COVID-19, as we've been precluded from entering that environment, which we will be, thankfully, January 2022. But the other barrier is the access piece, and then being able to, the know-how to implement, those technologies in their everyday lives, as they're precluded from that education and growth and development. And so in terms of the way that has impacted me personally, for the most part, I've lived in North Kansas City and I've had access to technology, haven't had a problem accessing internet or any services associated with that. And so I recently moved to the 3rd district and I've had issues with connectivity. So for example, now I'm using a hotspot to be able to connect because of the neighborhood that I'm in. Google Fiber is accessible, but I live in a housing structure that has 3 apartments in it and it's already Google Fiber here. So it's reading that the services is already here. And so finding a way to solve for that would be ideal because it impacts me being able to work remotely in a real big way. And so we currently work within the Department of Corrections. We provided a new recruitment model within our business plan. We shifted from talent acquisition to talent sourcing and be able to control for those variables in the economy impacted by entrepreneurs, COVID-19, non-job seekers, and mass incarceration, utilizing an untapped pool in the Department of Corrections. And we've been able to partner with Community Care Link, who offers they offer a healthcare focused software platform with solutions for nonprofit management, workflows, population health, and also cloud reference tracking for your programs and services. And we're not able to ideally access that and provide those resources to our partners that support our programs and services. And so to Rick's point, in terms of the divide, my office is located at Equal Minded Cafe and Event Center essentially 3 blocks from where I live at. But because that's more associated with a business district, then I don't experience that impact there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you. And so what, could you give us some examples of, say, people in your program and what challenges they're having, like getting access to computers or to the services or, technical training they might need?
Absolutely. And so, as I said, our clients are generally releasing from incarceration. And so then it becomes a case of connecting them with cell phones, which has been through a partnership with Goodwill. We've been able to leverage that. But then there's also the piece on having an internet provider. And so we've been having to find creative ways to pay for data packages so they can access the internet and be able to have access to email to follow up with the employers once they apply for various positions, or even accessing the work profiler that the Bruce Foundation has created for us. And so we have, at one time, I was able to connect with, I believe it's Connection for Success, and we were able to partner on some technology for our clients, but we need more access to be able to realistically get this done. And so what that looks like, for example, in the transitional Kansas City Center, which was formerly the Kansas City Reentry Center, which was a minimum security prison in the West Bottoms, which has now rebranded itself for more of a pre-entry model, or providing services for those exiting prison before their release. They're looking at 150 residents, but only 25 computers. Right. And so it's a divide there, being able to have access to that technology to then be able to develop those skill sets.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see, I got to jump back to my list of questions here, because the training program. So did you participate in some of these programs that Simone has at PBA?
Absolutely. We're currently in their small business development cohort.
Okay.
And so what that looks like is a suite of services for small business owners, especially looking at the back office features in terms of bookkeeping, accounting, making sure that your status is current in terms of your business structure and it aligns with your services. And so within that program is an opportunity to receive a $25,000 grant that we can then infuse in our business, right? And so it's very critical. And one of the things that Simone Curls and her teams have been able to do is really connect with the state level, the Missouri Economic Department, to provide those opportunities to small business owners. And so if you're not aware, I would definitely encourage you all to connect with the Prospect Business Association. It's amazing resources that will allow you to educate yourself, your team, and provide you pathways to relationships to help grow your business.
All right, thank you. And so, hey, and I've also in the chat just asked everyone to drop your LinkedIn profile. Most of the fun of going to GEW in person is meeting people and networking. So if we can do that by sharing LinkedIn profiles, or, Twitter, I'm at RUKCMO on Twitter. Na'im,
we're at SWAGG INC, SWAGGINC. 2 G's. 2 G's.
Okay. And so on the access to devices piece, Simone also gave me this information that PCs for People has been a resource for them to get low-cost refurbished laptops, tablets, PCs, and I think in some cases maybe smartphones. Tom Esselman runs that locally in Kansas City. That's part of a digital upcycling program that I helped form through the city about 6 years ago, where the city donates all of our surplus electronics. They refurbish them through a partnership with Full Employment Council, so it's kind of a job creator as well. And then those computers go out to help in our digital inclusion programs. So some people have had questions about, why am I getting a refurbished computer? So I do want to kind of allay those concerns by saying uh, they're not going to update a computer from like 2006. They are putting more up to date or operating systems, and they also provide a 1-year warranty to folks they sell those to, and they're $50 to $150. And in some cases, I think PCs for People makes them available at no cost to different households. And like I say, Prospect Business Association has partnered with PCs for People. So that's really what Kansas City is kind of all about, is creating and forming these partnerships to move businesses forward. On the list of questions, so what technologies have you had to adopt, Na'im? And I'll open it up maybe to others in the group here, but in the pandemic, what technologies have you had to adopt in order to keep doing what you do in your business?
Absolutely. And so we had to make sure that our clients had the technology, because we were, we knew, we couldn't be in those environments. And so for us, what that looked like, we have a career mentor partnership with KCPS, also within the Department of Corrections. And one feature of our partnership with the Bruce Foundation is being able to provide virtual entrepreneurship, virtual internships, to be able to connect with technology to employers, mentors, and the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so really having to partner with other organizations, and I misspoke earlier and said connections to success, but I meant PCs for People.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of connecting our clients to the technology to be able to upskill them. Also, we had to switch for a while to virtual mentoring sessions, both for our youth and our returning citizens. And that would be difficult because our youth would have to use hotspots, essentially, just like I'm using right now, because of the not access to those technology, or internet rather, excuse me.
Between the hours of 6 a.m.
Oh, Imani, if you could mute, please.
During your interview, you may be asked to provide more information. Once all your information is turned in, it will be processed within 10 days.
Let me see if I can mute that. Hold on.
You'll receive a letter in the mail letting you know if you were approved.
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Right. And so, yeah, again, when we had to make that pivot to that virtual platform, it was, it provided barriers to be able to really connect with our clients because of the hotspots, essentially, and then not being in an environment to be able to network and have a mentoring session. And so having the technology to connect our clients to, and then being able to upskill them to use that technology, and then having access to internet in lieu of hotspots would be an amazing next step for us.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Does anyone else have a comment they'd like to add on technologies you've adopted during the pandemic? Okay, so.
Can I weigh in a little bit as a
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
One of the things that I have adopted is our low code or no code solutions, because the pandemic really changed everything that my connections with my third party people that used to help with website building for my clients and things like that. So while I handle more of the intake, like what do you need a website for? What do you want that website to do? All of those ground-based things that a lot of people really overlook when it comes to websites. I handled that, but then I am now offering them low and no code solutions. Like, hey, this is what I did for my content creation. I created an account from Canva, and I used the free version until we can make more money, and then that money could pay for the pro version. So it's little pieces like that helped my clients really see like the bigger picture. While they would love to be able to outsource that third party, right now, where you are with what you have is a free account. Use that, and then make it manual. And then here's the pro tip that I like to give them is that you have a teenager in the other room. They're on their phones anyway. Tap into that. But more importantly, now you're teaching that teenager to use the devices they already have for creating content, which content creators make a lot of money. So that's an opportunity that I think is overlooked often. So that's all I had to contribute.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And so that also, I think what Simone may be working on, and I think what would be useful as we look at this digital equity initiative is organizing more companies like yours that can help these business owners with that digital transformation. And if you're not familiar with KC SourceLink, that's an excellent resource, I think, to find some of these providers. They may, I should have got an answer to this first, but I'm not sure if you can list a for-profit company there, but I would think that, you know, maybe an ongoing project would be to start creating a network of business owners that we could refer companies to. And the other thing I've tried to push is like a shop local KC initiative, so that we don't send somebody to Geek Squad, we send them maybe to Integral Computers or some other person locally. Our library, Kansas City Public Library, has a tech access hotline, and a lot of their questions are all about, I got this problem going on with my computer. And so they've been looking, you know, for some good resources there. So, and while I'm on that, the library, Carrie Coogan is the president of the Kansas City Coalition for Digital Inclusion. I'll drop a link to that in the chat here, but again, back in my city experience, was one of the, say, co-founders of that coalition about 6-7 years ago with PCs for People, which is now, I'm sorry, Connecting for Good, which is now PCs for People, is one of the forming partners. Urban Tech, Ina Montgomery, the folks at Literacy KC founded that organization. Now we meet first Friday mornings at 10:30 via Zoom, and that's the coalition meeting. So everyone really suggests, if you want to get more involved in this, you know, join that coalition. And we got a question, maybe it's a question in chat, Imani, about saying, I want to see a community broadband in KCMO, but Google came against it. Do you want to talk more about that? Imani, are you still with us? You're muted.
No mic, apparently.
Okay. Well, on that issue, there are, as I was saying, I think the issue in Kansas City is more on the affordability side. Again, like about in everybody's backyard, you've got AT&T, Google Fiber, Spectrum running, and so it's really subscribing. We also have in the Kansas City, Missouri School District, what do you call it? Housing mobility. That with eviction, unfortunately, is a business model for a lot of landlords, and that causes students, I think there's a really stark figure, like 70% of students in the Kansas City school district will have 2 street addresses in the school year. So it's difficult for, you know, parents to subscribe to something that might have a 1 or 2 year contract in it. Through this, there's something called the Emergency Broadband Benefit through the FCC, where you can get up to $50 a month paid for internet services through AT&T, Spectrum. PCs for People has an offering, and there's a few others on that list, but locally, those are the major providers. But look for one that's going to give you the speed that you want in order to go to school. That's very significant. And, you know, while I'm talking about the speed, Na'im, you're on the mobile Wi-Fi hotspot. Wi-Fi hotspots were like thrown out, and of course, as a like quick solution to students. But what issues do you experience with the Wi-Fi hotspot and the speed and, say, reliability?
Right. And so it's definitely something that impacts my confidence in even connecting to the different meetings that I have or work that I'm doing virtual, because either the page just loops, it never loads, my email doesn't open up, I can't access my calendar. to connect to different Zoom links or respond to emails. When I'm looking to send a secure message through our customized platform that was created through Community Care Link, I can't even confidently say that email made it to its destination. We're dealing with personal identifiable information, and then it's kind of, caught in the matrix. And so it's a tremendous hurdle for me. And so when I moved to this particular area, what I found is that Verizon, which is my phone provider, doesn't provide access in this area. And so that's when I shifted to look at different resources. And so we looked at Google Fiber as we connected earlier, and seen the different barriers with that opportunity. And so that's the same thing that our students are facing, and our partnership is within KCPS. And it's a real problem that our students are not being able to connect and only having that hotspot feature, which is a resource, but again, it's likely to be unreliable, especially when there's a lot of access in the surrounding area.
Yeah. So another issue that I'd heard of was that the Wi-Fi hotspots have data caps, and that for distance learning, families, students were bringing those hotspots back to the district halfway through the month because they'd capped their data. So it's really that wired connection that this emergency broadband benefit can assist with. And so Imani did give us the statistic that the per capita income in 64128 zip code, which I believe is within the 3rd City Council district.
Correct.
That per capita income is $17,000 a year. Student mobility was 40%. I said 70, so 40%. Still a very number way too large. And she said that's before COVID. And then she goes on to say that 50 a month does not provide a strong enough broadband when you have more than 2 people that need connectivity. That is, I think, what gets lost in a lot of the conversation is that you might have one student at home, but you've got family members. Maybe they're trying to stream Netflix. You've got maybe one of the parents is fortunate to have a remote work opportunity. And when you start getting that kind of load on broadband, it's really, to me, like the electric service in your house. When we first got electricity, 3-bedroom house, maybe you had a 30 amp circuit, but you were only paying for what we still sometimes call the light bill. It was only really, the only technologies hooked up to electricity were lights. Now we've got like everything in the household connected to electricity, and you're more than likely needing a 200 amp service. And if we had the same reliability of our electric service that we have with some of our internet providers, there would be huge outrage in this country. If your circuit breakers were constantly popping, if your lights were constantly dimming or going out, you would have problems. So this is really kind of that conversation of gigabit speed internet that Google Fiber provides, 980 megabit download that Spectrum provides, really being, I think, the new normal going forward in the internet. And then we're fortunate to have Andrea from KC SourceLink on with us. And so she put a link to, and this is a new program by KC. Do you want to tell us a bit about that one? Andrea, are you still there?
Yes, I am. I'm still here. Thank you so much. So we have, you can request for a one-on-one with the navigator and just fill out the quick form, and then we schedule some time and we can talk about, your business idea, and then we craft personalized action plan for you to follow so you can get to the level that you need to get to. You can connect with the right organizations that you need to connect.
Okay, thank you. And then the buy local, KC.
Yeah, so we just launched this new site. Is the same, is the one that used to be shop local. So now it's buy local, and now you don't have to have a front door to be able to be on that side. Before, we only have like physical shops, but now even if your shop is an online shop or anything, you can still add it right there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So that, yeah, definitely something to promote. So does anyone have questions for Na'im or I or others? You know, we can have a conversation about this issue. My main point with this was to just elevate the conversation on the struggles that folks wanting to get into entrepreneurship are having in accessing the internet and the technologies needed, the devices and training, as well as those small business owners that did great, say as a storefront, but now need a digital platform. I mean, it's really, I think Congressman Cleaver said it best, that if you're not online, you're in decline. So we want to help push more use of internet services. And then it also helps just solve a whole host of issues: generational wealth building, home ownership, academic achievement, healthcare. The internet services are just back to electric services, water services, just as vital to the health, say, of our economy and our households. So are there any questions for anyone?
Yeah, Rick, that was a great analogy that you gave about the electricity compared to broadband, because I do not understand the speeds. I mean, I don't know what speeds I need. And so could you kind of repeat that again, what one does need?
Yeah, so the best site I've found for that is, I'll drop a link here, but Broadband Broadband Now has a "what speed do I need" questionnaire.
Okay.
And it'll do a speed test for you. But then, when you go through the "what speed do I need," it asks you like specific questions. How many people in your household? What kind of, do you stream TV? Do you work from home? Do you have distance learning? And then it'll show you, what they're recommending. The challenge that we have, I mentioned the emergency broadband benefit.
Yeah.
They call it broadband. The FCC is real specific on what they mean by broadband. It's 25 megabit per second download speed and 3 megabit per second upload speed. So it's a very low speed. And really, Broadband Now, what they've shown through their tracking of internet usage over the last 2 years, that those really are not going to be sufficient for multiple, students from home, employees from home, or just people, e-commerce, just,
So a typical household or typical
yeah,
usage.
yeah, exactly. Typical household, right? And really what you find, unfortunately, in these neighborhoods where the digital divide is deepest, AT&T is still using what's known as DSL and ADSL technologies, which is really copper telephone lines that are, say, over 100 years old, and they can't push that speed over that copper anymore.
Yeah.
They are building fiber networks, and unfortunately in the more affluent neighborhoods. Spectrum, with their cable network, they're able to provide speeds of over, say, I mentioned 980 megabit per second download. They might get you 40 megabit upload speed, which in 40 is typically going to be fast enough to participate in a Zoom session like this. But you probably have been in some meetings where someone doesn't have their video on because they don't have the broadband speed to both listen and push the video back upstream. And then like I'm just experiencing now, we've got so many other devices that are connecting to your Wi-Fi network in your home. My refrigerator wants to connect. I got a blender that wanted to connect. A washing machine wants to connect. What are they doing? And so what I just heard was my Ring doorbell. And my Ring doorbell connects through the Wi-Fi, and I can get that, on my phone. So it's just so pervasive and life-changing. In fact, I'll throw this in that Simone shared the story of one of the company she's working with, an auto repair technician, built a website. I think he started using, say, something like QuickBooks, and immediately realized the time savings of being able to track services, to be able to bill online, and to be able to just bring that technology into their business and spend more time with the customer and less time on the back office. And so did someone else have a question there? Did I interrupt?
If I could speak to the point of the speed and then close out on connecting with SWAGG Inc. And so the way that my hotspot work is 30 megabytes. However, let's say if I eclipse that within 7-10 days, then for the remainder of the month, it runs at 3 megabytes. Right. And so that's what the barrier looks like. And so if anyone's interested in connecting with SWAGG Inc., you can find us online, SWAGG 2Gs inc.org. Also, we're on Instagram, SWAGG 2Gs INC KC. Definitely look forward to connecting and seeing how we can come up with innovative ways to solve for this issue.
All right, thank you, Na'im. And I'm going to put my email in the chat if anyone wants to connect on this afterward. And I already shared LinkedIn. I think we were scheduled for 45 minutes. I'm working from home, and like I told you, I'm like semi-retired, so I can hang out here all day. But does anyone have? Imani asked a question about mesh nodes, and I think that Wi-Fi mesh networks, I've seen a lot of really good information about that. That technology is growing very quickly. And that's essentially where you have, say, internet services delivered to an antenna in a neighborhood, and then that antenna pushes a Wi-Fi signal out. I've got a box in my house, Naeem's got one in his house, Stacy has one in her house. All of us start rebroadcasting and skipping that signal across the neighborhood, and you can provide Wi-Fi, more broadly across the neighborhood much more quickly than the time it takes to construct a fiber network or to expand a wireline type network. And so those technologies have been successful in a lot of communities, and that signal strength question as it jumps from node to node, I think that's being addressed too. So there are some great technologies out there.
And would you need a password to connect to that Wi-Fi from them signals?
Yeah, there's probably a number of ways that those are managed, but I would say that yeah, you might. So like I live in the West Side neighborhood, if there was a West Side mesh, I might need a password to log into that. And they can set them up so that you have to pay to subscribe, or maybe they set it up so that it's free to get that in your home. It's very difficult though to basically, what they call it, fixed wireless is what they call it. So instead of mobile wireless like your phone, you've got a fixed antenna on your house, so that signal doesn't have to come through your house. But that's kind of my understanding of that one. And then Ivan makes a great point here. The telecom industry wasn't fully prepared to the huge increase on demand for internet use due to COVID, and the top demand on video conferencing, Zoom, and live streaming movies. Yeah, I think you're right. And again, Broadband Now has some really good reporting on that too, like just what the demands were and how internet providers responded to that. And then if you've also saw, this week the infrastructure bill has passed, at least the first infrastructure bill. There are billions of dollars in there for, again, they use the term broadband, but internet expansion. And it also includes a lot for the digital equity side of things. You might check out the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. They've got a full rundown there, report of like what's in there for digital equity. And there's a big effort underway in the Kansas City region, really kind of led through that Coalition for Digital Inclusion, to to maximize how much investment we get into that in Kansas City. So, all right, again, a lot of great comment in the chat if folks want to read through that. Are there any other questions from folks? Na'im, I appreciate you stepping up to join me on this. I know we kind of, I've had some challenges here myself, but I'm happy that we're able to connect like this. And thank you so much for folks joining and participating in this. There will be I am recording. I'll share this back to our friends at GEWKC at KC SourceLink so that the video does get posted when they post the rest of the videos from Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Thanks so much, Rick. You did a great job. And
Oh,
everybody else who contributed.
Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that. Okay, and then again, I put my email there. Hope to see you all in person someday. We'll have, maybe GEW will be back in town here in person soon. So thanks again, and appreciate your time.
Bye, everybody. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Na'im, I'll share that video. So thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege. You know, you've been my mentor throughout this